Okay, if you're a student of mine, then there's no doubt I've talked to you about sequencing a golf swing. There's a certain body rotation and sequence for us for throwing a baseball, for swinging a bat, for most everything we do. There's a sequence to it, and most golfers sequence their golf swing incorrectly. And particularly it happens from about this position, sometimes earlier, but at least sometime between this position where you're about horizontal to the ground here with your lead arm and impact. So right through this area here, most people end up slowing their body rotation down and they start throwing their hands. Now, when I say most people, I'm talking about amateurs. There's not one player on tour who does it incorrectly, or else they would have a swing that involves too much timing and movement, and they would never be consistent enough to play day in and day out at the levels they do. So we can't maybe swing like Adam Scott, but we can sequence our swing like Adam Scott. We're looking at how do we get our hands from right here to right down near the impact position. So say let's over the ball, and we don't want to move our wrists and we don't want to move our arms independently of our body. So if you watch Adam Scott and he moves his hands from that area here into that area here, what you're going to notice is that his golf club, this angle here of his right wrist won't change much, which means he's not throwing the golf club at this point. He's not letting his right wrist extend. If he extended his wrist, the distance between this shoulder and that golf club head is going to get long enough that he's going to have to stand up or chicken wing or do what most players do, average players, at impact to compensate for the fact that he's throwing early. So let's watch him come down here now. And as he comes down, you'll still notice. Let me go back. Okay, I'm going to bring him down just one click at a time. And you're going to see as he comes down, that angle between his left arm, that is about 90 degrees, stays pretty close to that all the way into here. He's not throwing early. He's moving his body. His belt buckle is now facing significantly further out in front of him than it was. He's probably turned out to about here. He's still got a dead straight left arm and he's got a bent right elbow. That means he is this distance, particularly from here to here, is staying pretty intact. So he's going to be able to stay out over the ball, not stand up, not bend this lead elbow to compensate for any kind of early release. So as he comes into the ball here in this position, he's done a lot of body rotation, still got a bent right elbow, still got a dead straight left arm, and he still has somewhat of a significant angle on this wrist. So the drill I'm about to show you is trying to emulate that move on just this portion of the golf swing. Okay, so now we're going to look at the drill, and I want you to understand all I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to mimic the downswing. So I'm starting from this position, trying to feel like I'm kind of coming down on the ball. This isn't my backswing. I'm not going to set my wrist this early on the backswing. So from this position, I'm just going to do a couple of moves where I just try to get my hands from here to about where his hands are, a little bit farther, just by moving my body. So let's see what happens when that happens. Can I push this glove through with that right hip? Can I just shove my hips through there and get myself into a position that feels like what it would be at impact? Now that's a little exaggerated, but that's what I want to feel. Can I move my body and move my hands through with my right wrist? Look at that angle. Now it's not going to be that far out when I actually hit the ball, but I'm trying to feel like what that is. So from here, I'm going to go back, get to about the same position as Adam does. So we're going to take him back here, put him in about the same position as I am here. One more back maybe. Okay. So I'm not Adam Scott. He's a much better player than me. He's a better ball striker. He's got a swing that's phenomenally pretty. But I still want to look at the sequence of what I'm doing. It's going to be similar to him here. So I'm going to come down, move him down first, and he's going to move, and that wrist is going to stay pretty intact. He's just moving his body. There's a lot of rotation here that doesn't have anything to do with him throwing his arms or releasing this wrist. And I'm going to try and do the same thing. Let me get to about the same position he is. When I first get my hand on my leg, it's a little bit further than him, so I'm going to go down. We're both in a similar position here, and you'll notice his golf club at this point is pointing at about this angle, and my golf club is pointing at about this angle. My left arm straight, my right elbow's bent. I would love my elbow to be more inside underneath like his is, but it is what it is. So you'll notice I'm pushing onto this front leg like he is. My right knee is kicking in. There's some similarities in the sequence. There's not a matter. I can't push through and swing as hard as he does. I'm not as tall. I'm not as young. I'm not as athletic. I'm just talking about sequencing. So if we continue to move down here, let me clear the lines off, and we click a little bit more. Now I've impacted the ball. Let's get him to where he's impacted. His camera's a little higher speed than mine. And you'll notice there's some similarities in this position. My right elbow's still slightly bent, just like his. I've still got a wrist angle here. It's a little harder to see on mine, but the club's still down here, and I've got a wrist angle. Probably not quite as good as he does, but I'm not a tour pro. My left arm's dead straight. That's all possible because I'm rotating my body. His belt buckle at this point, it's probably in out here, maybe 40 degrees, 50 degrees. I'm the same way. My body's rotating out to here. And from this position, that position, he's extended his right arm. I'm going to click one more time on me, and you'll see the same thing. Now the club extends out in front of me. So we're just talking about sequence. So this drill is pretty simple. Let me get Adam off the screen here. We're going to go back to me, and all I'm going to do from here, from this position, I'm going to do it in regular speed, and you're going to see me try and rock back, feel that move right there, feel that move, and then hit it.